Here we are, you know what day it is, it's Thursday, episode number 11, I think, of iCritique, and we have a great set of images here. Let's jump right into it right now. So a photographer by the name of Jamil, hope I'm saying your name right, sent these images to me, just like you guys can. If you guys want to get a flickr set or a portfolio of your images together to do a critique, just to get an outside view, send them to eric@ericrossi.com. Tell me some of the gear you're using. If I can't find it in here, it helps out. And just say I have permission to do this on YouTube. So Jamil gave me permission. Thank you for giving me permission. And we're going to jump right into them. Give me a set of like 5 or 6 images. So we have several here. There's some really awesome ones and some we can help improve. Once again, I kind of like a mix set like this. So we're going to jump right into the first one. So as we can tell, we are obviously not in the US. We are, someplace probably a little more exotic. And okay, we just have a nice long exposure street shot. It's great. Put on a tripod probably. Probably used a high aperture as well because you see the star bursting right here. Doubt there is a filter. It looks good. It looks wide angle, and because it is, I can kind of see the distortion. But let me just kind of tell you the gear that he's using for some of these. I found out for this he's using the Canon 7D, and then in some of the other photos he uses the 400D or the XTI, and he is a huge fan of the 10 to 20 millimeters, and he uses it pretty much out at 10 millimeters. And as you see right here, he was at f22, so you're going to get that starburst feature here. Now, the one big thing about this is, this is probably one of those double-decker tour buses that drive by. It looks good, but there's not a ton going on. And what I mean is the sky's blown out over here. I mean, that looks great. Maybe if this was more of a nighttime shot, or there was just some different light, or maybe if you used an ND to recover some of the sky, it would look better. But there is a lot of kind of dead space here, and it just looks like you were just trying something. Good ISO, manual, that's fine. An 8-second exposure worked really well. I just wish there was a little more to something like this, because obviously you have the technique down by dragging the shutter and letting the cars go by and pass, and that's why you see this motion. So it's a start to something. I think you can really improve on it. Use a different lighting. I like where it's at. Obviously having the tower here looks great, and just maybe a little tighter and with different lighting, or kind of work with the lighting over here. So let's jump to the next one. Hopefully this doesn't show ads on the new flickr, which I'm not a fan of. All right, fine. Or don't work. That's fine. So we'll jump into this one. It's called Sunset in Pool Harbor. And I think this is where he was using the 7D. Yeah, he was using the 7D once again on this one. Loves the 10 to 20. It's a good silhouette shot. You expose for the background, the sky. I guarantee you mess with the background a little bit, but it's a decent. Maybe it's a little too purple for me. I'm more of a realistic type of editor, so it's not as purpley, but it gives it something different and really makes the black pop and stand out, because that's what purple can do, or those saturated colors, that's what they can do. I like the calmness of the lake because let me see what exposure. You did a 30-second exposure. I could kind of tell from the sky and from the kind of the milky-ish water back there. So it looks good, great silhouette. It is a good time of day because nothing's harsh and the shadows do stand out. My huge gripe with this, though, I'm glad that you composed this differently. Either I wanted to see this wider so I see more, because I have a feeling it would just look better wider, not just vertical. But your watermark stands out way too much in something like this. And honestly, that's one of the first things that I noticed, because it's right there. It doesn't blend in at all. If you're going to use a watermark, make it blend in a little bit. Don't make it basically a subject point by accident. And I wouldn't even worry about watermarks at this point, Jamil. So lose them. They're too big. It's just not necessary. No one's really going to steal, a photo like this. But once again, with that aside, I do like it. Good silhouette. I like how you can kind of see like the town or whatever back here, but maybe shoot wider. It'll just do more. Promise you 100%. But you got that down. Let's go to shot number 3. All right, we have the typical bike motion shot. It's good. I guess if it was someone in a photo story, it would be fine. And this is where we're using the 400D, still using that 10 to 22. Yeah, and some people are going to say, well, how did you get, the background to get bokeh, or how did you get blur if you're using f22? Well, a couple main things is that there's motion blur, obviously, as you're going, and the shutter's dragging, but it's mounted pretty well to the bike here. So I'm guessing, I wonder how you did mount, your 400D. I know it is a little bit of a smaller camera, but yeah, it's a typical shot a lot of people do. It's not impressive. I mean, once again, you have the technique down. You have the mount. And I see it right here. The Manfrotto Super Clamp, I'm guessing, is what you use, and that thing holds a lot. So, it can hold D4, 1DX, etc. So, if it was something different, I guess I'd be more blown away. But you have the technique down, or maybe this is something in a photo story that would make better sense. But it's good. I mean, you have the motion blur, it works, and I like the fact that it's not in black and white, which a lot of people tend to do for something like this, and it just wouldn't work. All right, for something like this, we have something really, really shallow, and I would be shocked. Let me see what you're shooting at. I was going to say, I would be really shocked if you were using like f22 on something like this because of, well, the bokeh and how it blurs out, and you're using the nifty 50 1.8 lens. The bokeh is nice. It is a little overexposed. The sun is kind of killing it. It's not giving the best light. It's a little too wide in my opinion. If you're going to get shooter or do some kind of macro, definitely punch in on that. Get closer. There's just too much going on and nothing really sticks out to me in this image. So get closer, maybe show the color more of this, and maybe try to do a little bit more macro work for something like this. So for something like this, I really wouldn't put in a portfolio. I'm going to skip this one real quick, and I'm going to go to this one. Lighting project, the 24-70, 2.8, I'm guessing. This doesn't work. Not trying to be mean, but there's really no lightness up to it. It is very, very underexposed. You're using f11. Maybe if you wanted to, I guess, use just a lesser f-stop, maybe pump up a strobe, a flash, or drop the shutter down to get more ambient light. There's a lot of things you could have done to raise the exposure on this. I see you were kind of, I guess, doing an overhead rim lighter type of thing, but it really only touches the beanie right here, and it just, there isn't much in this image, to be honest. So I wouldn't put that in there. Keep it as a project and just expand on that. But I want to say probably your strongest shot, and one that I really, really like, is this. Now, once again, okay, it might be a project, might be something fake, but if you can recreate something like this, lose your watermark, keep something like this. But it'd be really interesting if I like the lighting on this 100%. I really do. I like the selective depth of field. That works great. I like, you could tell that this guy's a killer, something different, good rim lighting on the hands and the knife. I don't want to say the knife should be clean because I don't want it to be, because it wouldn't make sense, but it's just a little distracting. Maybe clean it up a little bit. Maybe you put a little bit of blood on it, or just mucky it a little bit. It just looked, I don't know, it just kind of throws me off a little bit. But what really throws me off is all of this stuff going on back here. Now, as you see, there is an environment. Someone might make the argument that, it's chaotic or something like that. I'm just looking at this little tray right here, the minute meals that you put in the microwave from the freezer, that's what my attention's going to, when it should be this over this side of the screen, so maybe clean up this kind of stuff. And it's just, you can have subtle hints, don't go crazy with it, but I would be a little more careful. But in regards to, I'm guessing, I'll cut off this right here because that is really distracting me. I like this, maybe change the knife up a little bit, mucky it up a little bit, not have so scratchy, maybe a little bit of blood or something like that if you're really trying to push that through. But great detail out of this. Good depth of field. You used f5, perfect for something like this. You got the compression down. You were at 50 millimeters with your newer 51.8. So I have a feeling this is one of your strongest shots. So overall, Jamil, thank you for sending in your images. So you understand motion blur 100%. I would just work on a couple things, especially right here, getting more of the sky, something like this. Shoot wider. Do a little bit more macro, but this right here is your strongest shot, your Happy Halloween shot. Just change it up a little bit, and I think you'll have something really well, and I like the lighting here. Something like this just doesn't work. It's a project, leave it that way, but something like this, really, really is good lighting. I like it. I love what it did on the knife. So that's what I have here. Thank you for watching. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Thank you for watching Eye Critique number 11. And we had some interesting photos today. Some, really tips to help, you improve Jamil. And let me down in the comments below if, what you guys have to say about these images as well. Be constructive, be criticismal. Is that a word? I don't know. It's late, but let's do it. And once again, you guys can send in your images as well.